Hey y'all. I wanted to talk in detail, line by line, about the poem that I recently wrote, full of rage, but very cathartic to write. It is called, um, what is it? Where's the title? It's called Get On Yo Knees. Get on, capital YONI, Yoni, and then a lowercase d, so get on your knees. Get on your knees. And I want to explain the meaning behind the poem and go line by line explain it. Yoni refers to vagina, and get on your knees is, something in BDSM, but also just putting someone into a submissive position. And saying yo knees is like, African American vernacular, like slang, like yo knees instead of your knees. And getting on your knees is also the position you take when you're praying. So all of those things are wrapped up in the definition and the title. So I made a poem about so many aspects of, you know, church stuff, patriarchy, mis- misogyny, all the things. So I'm gonna play that and then I'll pause it line by line. I'm just trying to hold on. This opened up too soon. Alright. Alright, hold on. Tonight, I'm going to. Tonight, the title of this poem is called Get On Your Knees. It's spelled YONIZ. Purities your knees and praise the Almighty. Get on your knees and praise the Almighty. Purities. You shun the boys, you deny them, but you don't dare deny me thrice. Oh, this didn't pause. It just like made made the sound mute. Deny me thrice. I'm trying to figure out how to pause this, and I don't see how to do that. Okay, that's gonna be problematic. Um, it'll be easier if I just like actually read this. So let me just open the email instead of playing it by video, because then I can just read the lines, um, stanza by stanza, and then tell you what they mean afterwards. Because this is a poem explanation video. Excuse me. So let's see here. Okay. Where are you? Where are you? Come on. There it is. I found it. Alright. Here we go. Get on your knees and praise the Almighties. So in this line, I'm saying, like, I'm talking to a pastor who is homophobic. Ugh. I don't want, like, vibrations to be heard well. Right, so I'm silent. So, like, to the pastor who's homophobic, get on your knees. So, like, submit to us. Submit to gay women. Because he doesn't have a yoni, but we do. And it's, just kind of like a middle finger to patriarchy. It's like everyone comes from a woman's womb. So being hateful towards women is, I don't get it. It says, and praise the Almighties. So, tease referring to like sexually titillating somebody, strip tease or whatever. But I'm combining almighty and tease together in a portmanteau. And I'm saying that sexuality is divine and sacred. It's not this dirty, nasty thing to be ashamed of and look at as sinful as it is in religion. Then it says purities. So again, like mocking purity culture and making a juxtaposition of teasing someone sexually. Um, and it's kind of like when there's like strippers who dress up as nuns. It's like you are mocking that which hurts you. You're mocking this idea that women who are pure virgins are better or more loved and elevated in the world of patriarchy, and that if you are a stripper doing strip tease or just being a tease in general, that's bad and torturous. So it says, purities, you shun the boys, deny them. So someone who's teasing is ultimately not going to take sexual action, but you are like putting yourself on display. It doesn't mean that necessarily you are going to do something, but it's enticing. It's like, people who do want to do something with you, you're on display for them in that way. And it's like, okay, it's a tease. Some people like that, some people are very annoyed by that. It says, but don't you dare deny me thrice. Okay. So I thought initially who I was addressing in the beginning was the pastor, but it actually isn't. I am talking to a woman that I have a closeted relationship with, because she is closeted, but I want to be out with her. So that's where it comes, but don't you dare deny me thrice. And it's also kind of referring to that biblical, like, denying that you know Jesus thing. I know you can't, I think that was Matthew who did that. I know you can't claim me, but I would give my life to be with you. So this is me saying, like, I would risk being killed, in a homophobic attack if it meant that I could show my love openly to you for however short that is, or take the risk that would happen. And I said, I know you can't claim me. So I'm saying, like, she cannot publicly claim that she is with me or declare that she is a lesbian or queer, whatever, in a queer relationship. I said, I can't be selfish. I can't demand the sacrifice. So this is me saying, like, even though I'm ready to come out, I'm ready to take the sacrifice, that it's not fair, knowing all that's at stake, for me to demand that this person do the same. They're not ready, or they're not in a position where they can safely. Maybe you aren't willing to die for love, but what worth would it be to hold you in death in parts? So with this line, I'm saying, like, at first I'm saying, like, maybe you aren't willing to die for love, and it's kind of one of those statements that just isn't fair. It's like me expressing the frustration of, like, hey, we only have one life to live, carpe diem, we should take the risk, like, our love is worth it. And saying maybe you aren't willing to die for love kind of makes it seem like I'm upset at her for not trying hard enough. And I'm trying to reflect in this poem, like, the dilemma that people who date closeted go through, or people who are dating people who are in safe spaces to be out, or safer spaces to be out, versus people who, they'd be shunned, they'd be kicked out, they'd be killed. That just doesn't mean that they're not proud, or they don't want, you know what I mean? It's like they're not in a position they can be out about it. And the person who is in a safer position or is out despite that, whatever, needs to be understanding of that. It's not about them not, like, being ashamed of you. Excuse me. Um, says, but what worth would it be to hold you in death in parts? So I'm like kind of reflecting back in the opposite, saying, if we were to take that sacrifice and out ourselves, despite the danger, what worth would it have if we both get killed? And I'm holding her in the pieces she's been chopped up in. And there are plenty of places that are still dangerous to the point of hate crimes towards gay people, whether it's like to the point of maiming them or killing them. And I've resented that in recent years. The thought is that everywhere in the US is totes cool with it, that there aren't homophobic attacks like that anymore, that they happen very infrequently. Things are significantly better, but there's also like this movement to regress. Like we're not living in the Bible Belt, Being gay in New York is going to be a bit different than being gay out in Ohio or Alabama or Florida. Dragged through the streets and stoned for our hearts. I think that one's pretty clear. It's being tortured because of being gay. Burned in a pyre that demands our desires be nothing but ashes. Again, pretty clear. Punishment by death for homosexuality. I only weep for our separation, but I light the flame to their steeples. So this is about vengeance. This is about these girls. Well, the main protagonist, me, I suppose, burning down the churches that are homophobic, burning down the churches that are so homophobic to the point that they kill gay people. Only the ones who chased us out, who screamed turn or burn and murdered the innocent lambs. So I really want to clarify with this line, because saying you're going to burn a church is that's a very intense statement, and you know there are good Christians and there are churches that are reconciling, accepting, inclusive, diverse, and have rainbow stoles and rainbow flags and like loudly support the gay community. Those churches I am not talking about. I am talking about the ones who torture gay people, kill gay people, encourage hate crimes, say all sorts of awful things about gay people, like the pedos and deviants, and like create this mob based off of lies to go after them. And I just really wanted to get out some of the rage and hurt feelings over how that is allowed to be said, it's allowed to be spread, it's like freedom of speech, I guess, but shit's fucked up. So then I say, but they are such devout slaves, such loyal, holy, vicious vipers. So I'm stating, like, these people will listen to anything their pastor says. They will guide their lives by, an ancient Bible written in a language that's a translation. And I just honestly am disgusted that if something is morally wrong, or even contradicts, like thou shalt not murder, there are plenty of people who whatever they want, whatever they think, they'll just like twist or make excuses biblically for why they're right to do it, or outright ignore, it's saying they should not, or just make it to their benefit, or apply something made that was considered okay to do in ancient times, but we know it was never okay to do. And yet we are the serpents, but they are the venom. So again, talking about how gay people are often scapegoated as being bad and evil, and we're danger, and we're deceivers, and we're devils, like with the analogy of the serpent in the Bible. But I'm saying they are venom. These homophobic church people are venom. They're the poison ones. And so do those who defend us. Stand with us now, or are those just words of encouragement as we march into battle on our own? So I was saying, even in the case of people that are allies, if you are a quiet ally and you are not actively fighting and marching with like queer people for queer liberation, I'm not saying that allyship isn't helpful, but more has to be done to help us. Like, saying how much you love queer people doesn't help protect queer people from homophobic, hateful attacks. So, I'm saying, like, if you're gonna be about it, be about it, be about it. Be at the front lines along with us if you really mean, you're an advocate. This is more than an ally. Or maybe it's a complacent stance held in high esteem. What an award for those who vow not to kill us but do nothing to protect us. I think that speaks for itself. And, and again, complacency means that you're not going to attack a queer person yourself. Like, oh, you're against that, you're not going to do it. But being complacent means also, if you were to find out that someone else is doing it, you're not going to do nothing either. It's like, there isn't any pride or reward to be had in you not being a killer of gay people. Like, congrats. Do you want a cookie? You want a gold star? Like, great, you're not a murderer, you're not a hate crimer. But it's like, you're just gonna stand there, watch other people do it, not call out churches or other Christians who are doing this, or just religious people in general. It's like, that's trash. You're not doing as much as you think you are. And it is their duty. It is their fault. So I'm saying it is the duty of advocates and allies to be actively, protecting and speaking up and speaking out. Just saying you don't have a problem with it doesn't do much. No one can know no one can know and demand gold from every theist's heart. So I'm saying, like, everyone who's religious is not going to love everybody. There's bad people in every group. There's going to be bad people everywhere and everything. So, kind of saying, oh, well, I thought you were a real Christian. This isn't following, like, Christian value, like Jesus loving people. Humans are going to human. They're going to be trash humans who are Christian, and unfortunately, like, it's like, that's what I'm saying. You can't demand the gold from every heart. You can't make someone love you or accept you or be kind. Like, you can't make it happen. But I see no good in a God who forsakes those who are slain. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Who allows his children to abuse again and again and again. And bless those who have opened their eyes and hearts to see that we all love the same. So I'm saying, bless those who have opened their eyes and hearts to see that we all love the same. So, like, yeah, kudos to them. To the people who have had that journey and grown to learn and to change, and, like, I was wrong, how I thought was wrong, what I did was wrong, but I have changed for the better. I've opened my mind to learning and accepting and being better. Bless those people. But I cannot forgive the irredeemable. Now, in Christianity, you're supposed to forgive everybody and love your enemies. I don't align with that. I don't fuck with that. When I say I cannot forgive the irredeemable, examples of irredeemable homophobic people, even if they have changed, for example, would be people who have kicked their kids out of the house, left them to fend for themselves in the streets, people who, to name some of the worst punishments for being gay, there's something called corrective rape, where a lesbian or queer woman is raped, like forced to have sex with a man to turn her straight, which that logic makes no sense. If anything, that would push her to like not. I don't try to make logic out of it, but um, or sending sons to prostitution brothels and forcing gay sons to have sex with prostitutes, like they're just all sorts of like torturous conversion camp. I don't think any parent is redeemable for sending their kid to conversion camp, which is a torture camp. So, yeah, I do believe that there are things you can do that are so egregious you don't deserve forgiveness. Now, this is a person's choice if they want to forgive you, but I don't. This whole thing about forgiveness being required, I I don't agree with that at all. Um, Hell no longer strikes fear in me because there is none like a life unlived, a broken heart, and an enemy made within myself. So this is about internalized homophobia. Sorry, I heard something upstairs. Me creating my own bully, policing myself, making sure like I'm not doing anything that could be assumed as gay. Trying to be very girly, trying to express like show no desire for women at all, but like just kind of doing that weird like neutral thing. Like I'm not really that pressed about guys, but also like I don't care about anybody. I'm not trying to date anybody. Um, you know, living with a broken heart because you can't live the life you want, and that's why I said life unlived. With a serpent tongue repeating what I was told to myself. Yeah, pulpit sticks, pulpits stuck in my throat from the cherry you plucked. Cherry being the metaphor for virginity. What is it? What is that phrase? Popping someone's cherry. I used plucked because pluck is what you do to flowers, so I'm using both analogies. Um, Also, the wordplay on pulpits, pits of a cherry. I'm so slick with it. Anyway, then you called me a whore of Babylon, a Jezebel, a temptress, a slut. But I know what I want even before I was ever touched. So I am challenging the whole. Some people have the notion that there's a concept of a subsequent lesbian, so like a woman who's been abused by a man and abused so much that she turned to women and lost her desire for men, and then that's absolutely not the case for me. I've loved women since 11. Um, I hadn't dated anybody until 19. And I just, sometimes I have this insecurity that, you know, if I talk about my history with men or liking them in any way, that me calling me a lesbian now kind of seems inauthentic. But there are plenty of lesbians who have struggled to really learn themselves and realize like that they just it's not, and there are lots of reasons for that, but I'm saying like I've been known I like women before having been abused by men, and I'm not a lesbian identified person because of the abuse by men or wanting to give up on them in any way. Um, the desire for them just it's not. um, Her lips are my glory, her heart is my holy, she is my queen and my goddess. Get on your knees. The only stance taken for your queen. For no God that neglects you, for no house of worship that rejects you, for no theists who can't accept you, for no prayers that pray. We are divine, not wicked, not broken. We are alive, and we are finally living words unspoken, living in your truth. Tears in a closet I burned long ago, wooden door burned. Splinters and scratches on the wall, like no more. Four walls closing in, asphyxiating, thinking it was my sin that caused my suffering. So again, this is the internalized homophobia, the the internalization of the concept that you're not just deviantly sexual, but that like you're a demon, like the devil's in you, like you're going to hell, like you're evil, that this desire makes you evil. So that whole like suffocation emotionally and mentally of hating yourself and being disgusted by yourself and seeing yourself as this weird thing that doesn't fit in, like a creature, a monster. I now hear the freedom bells ring, so liberating oneself, leaving the closet, but the deaf, I can never sing to them. So I'm saying, like, my celebration and my queerness cannot be heard by people who are homophobic. It's always going to be, like, just fall on deaf ears to them. It's like, why would you be obnoxious and be like on a megaphone on the mountaintops, I'm gay, I'm proud, I'm proud. It's like, what you're doing the most. You don't have to be so obnoxious about your sex, and it's like it's complete misinterpretation of what gay pride is for when that's said, and I hate when people say that. It will never be heard. They cut off their ears. And that cutting off the ears part is like, not only are they deaf, but it's like if there was any chance at them gaining back their hearing, it's like cut off the ears, like purposely make sure, like it's like that adamant ignorance. It's like, I don't know, I don't want to learn. If I'm wrong, I don't care, I don't want to hear it. So people are just adamant, like, I don't, they jabbed the sword of divinity inside, and they did it under the command of their precious pastors. So just people being led by, people telling them what to think, and people just being sheep and, like, not even questioning if their pastor's wrong or has nefarious intent. The same men who lie, and lie with men. The same hypocrites and abusers who call us the wicked ones. May your stained glass shatter, may it cut you apart, may your evil be bound, may your tongue be poisoned. May I take the sword between my legs and shove it down your throat. Now, with this line, even though I'm a woman with a vagina, I am using the metaphor of a penis being a weapon, being a sword, and using a metaphorical penis that I have to silence this evil pastor. I don't want to say what this is exactly, but it is forced oral sword throat attack. Yikes. Yeah, anyway. So, moving on. May I drag it across your vile tongue and cut it out so that you can feel the silencing. Now, no matter how wide you open your mouth, no one will hear you. And I will bless this unholy altar with a sacred love ritual upon the table. So I am saying that in addition to torturing this pastor, that I'm going to quote unquote defile the altar by having sex on it with my girlfriend or wife or female love, whatever. Get on YONIz. Take this blood in our cup. Period. Do you feel all the babies you insist on saving? This is referencing the people who are anti-abortion, pro-life, pro-birth, really. And me, like, stating that, when a woman has a period, she is losing eggs and babies that would have been, and people who are against, like, birth control and condoms and just, like, this whole policing and controlling of women's bodies in every aspect. Every moon of every month I bleed, period. And every day of every season I fear for my condemned womanhood. Drink it, choke on it, be drowned in it, our cup overflowing. So, this is pretty graphic, but, basically, both me and my woman are on our periods. And in addition to having sex and, on the altar, we're taking our menstruation blood and putting it in the, oh my god, putting it in the communion cup, and, like, basically, just, like, gagging this evil pastor with that blood. And then, oh my god, and then I said, I will fuck her good and I will fuck her with glee. Okay, we will sacrifice this pig at the altar, but he is too vile to eat. That is referencing, like, kosher, like, there's a story in the Bible where, Jesus expelled some demons, and they went into a area that had a bunch of pigs, and then the pigs jumped off the cliff. And because of that one story, or I don't know if there are other stories, but because of that story in particular, the belief is that eating pig is not, it shouldn't be done. And Jews do not eat pigs for that reason. Christians eat pork, but biblically it does say, like, don't eat pork because of this. Like, it's a dirty animal. So I'm comparing him to a pig. So feed him to the very wolves he let his wicked hold on. So feed him to the very wolves he let eat his wicked queer sheep. I repeat, feed him to the very wolves that he let eat his wicked queer sheep. Reverend, get on your knees. And that's the poem. Now, what I'll do is, because I made the explanation and read through all of this, I want to read the whole poem again. Just, now knowing what all the lines mean, I'm going to read it again. And then my plan is to, because this is a long video. Oh my god. My plan is to do a live with this pre-recorded thing and then upload that, since this isn't really like live. So let me read it again. This is Get On Yo Knees, poem written January 2nd, 2024. Get on your knees and praise the almighties. Purities, you shun the boys, deny them, but don't you dare deny me thrice. I know you can't claim me, but I would give my life to be with you. I can't be selfish, I can't demand the sacrifice. Maybe you aren't willing to die for love, but what worth would it be to hold you in death in parts, dragged through the streets and stoned for our hearts, burned in a pyre that demands our desires be nothing but ashes? I only weep for our separation, but I light the flame to their steeples. Only the ones who chased us out, who screamed turn or burn and murdered the innocent lambs. But they are such devout slaves, such loyal, holy, vicious vipers, and yet we are the serpents, but they are the venom, and so do those who defend us. Stand with us now, or are those just the words of encouragement as we march into battle on our own? Or maybe It's a complacent stance held in high esteem. What an award for those who vow not to kill us, but do nothing to protect us. And it is their duty. It is their fault. No one can know and demand gold from every theist's heart. But I see no good in a God who forsakes those who are slain, who allows his children to abuse again and again and again, and bless those who have opened their eyes and hearts to see that we all love the same. But I cannot forgive the irredeemable. Hell no longer strikes fear in me, because there is none like a life unlived, a broken heart, and an enemy made within itself, with a serpent tongue repeating what I was told to myself. Pulpits stuck in my throat from the cherry you plucked. Then you called me a whore of Babylon, a Jezebel, a temptress, a slut. But I know what I want even before I was ever touched. Her lips are my glory. Her heart is my holy. She is my queen and my goddess. Get on your knees. The only stance taken for your queen, for no god that neglects you, for no house of worship that rejects you, for no theists who can't accept you, for no prayers that pray. We are divine, not wicked, not broken. We are alive, and we are finally living words unspoken, tears in a closet I burned long ago, splinters and scratches on the wall, no more. 4 walls closing in, asphyxiating, thinking it was my sin that caused my suffering. I now hear the freedom bells ring, but the deaf, I can never sing to them. It will never be heard. They cut off their ears. They jabbed the sword of divinity inside, and they did it under the command of their precious pastors, the same men who lie, and lie with men. The same hypocrites and abusers who call us the wicked ones. May your stained glass shatter. May it cut you apart. May your evil be bound. May your tongue be poisoned. May I take the sword between my legs and shove it down your throat. May I drag it across your vile tongue and cut it out so that you too can feel the silencing. Now, no matter how wide you open your mouth, no one will hear you. And I will bless this unholy altar with a sacred love ritual upon the table. Get on your knees, take this blood in our cup. Period. Do you feel all the babies you insist on saving? Every moon of every month I bleed, and every day of every season I fear for my condemned womanhood. Drink it, choke on it, be drowned in it, our cup overflowing. I will fuck her good, and I will fuck her with glee. We will sacrifice this pig at the altar, but he is too vile to eat. So feed him to the very wolves he let eat his wicked queer sheep. I repeat, feed him to the very wolves that he let eat his wicked queer sheep. So, Reverend, get on your knees.